Kuttah Spoken Truth back at it again. I told you I was going to be doing a series on how body count women and giving you game because this is an issue within our community and particularly for our men. As I said before, men want a woman that they can settle down with that really ain't been tampered with, overly used and abused. But I'm going to try to keep this video short. Two things I want to point out to give you game to recognize if a woman have a high body count. Now, don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying this is the case for all of them. But when you see these two signs, this is information or revelation or insight into knowing that they got a high body count. So the two things I want to talk about. Number one, if a woman is referred to as one of the homeboys, more than likely, fellas, she got a high body count. I'm just going off stuff that I have experienced growing up in the hood, being around these type of women. If fellas is saying about your girl or somebody that you're dealing with, yeah, man, she was like one of the homeboys growing up. Best to believe she got a high body count. When we grew up in the hood, me and my brothers, the women that was treated like one of the homeboys, they were the one that slept around. It was on buddy buddy system, or what we call friends with benefits. When you didn't have nobody you can call up, you was able to call up that type of girl because she was down, she was cool. I remember, I won't say her name, but it was a woman that stayed around the corner from us. She was decent looking, but shit, her numbers was high because everybody in the hood used to call her up when they wanted some or wanted to get some head. And plans with their girlfriend or a potential new girl that they met out in the streets. And if it didn't go through at night, they knew we can call her up because she was cool. She was one of the homeboys. Man, I've been teaching this, man, and I learned this from my mama and my grandmama. And this is what we need to start back teaching our kids. When a woman feels comfortable around men, there's a reason for that. That means they have experience with being with a lot of men because it's not part of female nature to feel comfortable around multiple men. That's not part of female nature. If you have daughters and you watch them grow up, you'll understand that. It's not part of female nature for them to be comfortable around multiple men. That's learned behavior. That's something that become part of them as they go on in life, as they go from man to man to man. They become comfortable. They don't tend to be shy no more. You see, growing up and being in college and being able to deal with a lot of women, I pay attention. I ask questions. I watch how people move. Even the scripture says, and I think it's 1 Corinthians chapter 2, around the 15th verse, he that spiritual judge all things. You got to be able to judge these things. You got to be able to judge these matters. Don't be afraid to ask questions. I remember I was in college and I met this woman in college. She was fine. And we got to talking this and that and other. And so I asked her, I said, how many people you slept with? And she told me three. And instantly I knew she was lying. And so I kept kicking that with her. Then down the road, she came out and finally told me the truth. And I told her, I said, the first time I asked you, I knew you was lying. And the majority of the time, when you got the spirit, you can know around the number, or you can hit the number exactly. And I'll tell you another story, maybe another video about this other woman. But anyway, I said, why you just wasn't upfront with me from the get-go? I said, I'm going to look at you no different. You know what she replied back? I didn't want you to look at me as a hoe. I really like you. I wanted to be with you. I wanted to be your girlfriend. I knew if I told you the amount of people I slept with, you're probably going to look at me as a hoe. This is the reality for a lot of women. They will lie about their body count and then turn around and say, I don't want you to look at me no different. They have shame about it. Even Ephesians chapter 5 talk about it's a shame to speak of the things that they do in secret. They're ashamed about it. They wasn't ashamed during the time, but once they get older and start realizing, especially women who grew up without a father, once they realize their everyday ways, they do be ashamed about it, and they should be ashamed about it. That's what the scripture teaches. It's a shame to speak of those things that they do in secret. They want to keep it a secret. That's why they don't want to tell you. If it's something that you got to keep a secret and don't want to tell somebody about it, then it's devilish, it's wicked. Because Yahusha, whom he commonly called Jesus, said, what you hear in secret, tell it on the rooftop. If you can't tell it on the rooftop, then you have no business doing it. If you can't come outside and say, listen, I ain't perfect, I only been with 3 people, Jesus said, if you can't tell it on the rooftop, you don't need to be doing it. They be quick to say, it's none of your business. Well, shit, we don't need to be together. So one, I'm telling you from experience, all right? I dealt with a lot of females more than I like to admit, but I noticed a pattern with all of them. The ones that had high body count, I noticed a pattern. If they was referred to as one of the homegirls, or she just like one of the homeboys, or she cool, she used to chill with us. I noticed a pattern with all these girls that I dealt with. That was one of the main patterns. Referred to as one of the homeboys. So pay attention. You out at the store, or you go to some type of event, and men coming up to her and saying, yeah, man, we used to hang out together. She's like one of the homeboys. That's a sign. I'm telling you from experience. That was a pattern that I recognized. That's a pattern that I picked up on. And I'm in the midst of writing a book on pick up on patterns, not just for relationships, but in life. If you learn to pick up patterns, you're able to see things from a spiritual standpoint. That's why the scripture said, he that spiritual judge all things. You got to learn how to pick up on patterns. Another thing that I recognize, especially in college, a pattern that I picked up on. And it was strange to me because we didn't grow up like this. And like I said, we grew up, me and my brothers grew up with our mama. She only dealt with one person. I'm gonna do a video on my mama because she was, to us, she was the epitome, not only of a sanctified woman, but of a good woman as it relates to being in a relationship. So I'm gonna do a video on my mama. She did, and but be as it may, so on the top. But anyway, another pattern that we picked up on that we was not used to, especially me and my brother in college, is when a lot of women that we would talk to, deal with, go out with, bang out, whatever you want to call it. When I used to ask them questions about their exes, a lot of women that say they was cool with their ex, or they was cool with all of their exes, Man, that's a sign. You got to pay attention to pattern. It's not part of female nature to be cool with all of their exes. It's not. Go read Deuteronomy. That's not part of female nature. Matter of fact, the scripture said when a woman leave a man, she is not to go back to the ex. The scripture says abomination. So it's not part of female nature to leave one man and still be cool with all the ex. That's not part of female nature. That's learned behavior. And we fellas, we need to start picking up on it. If you're dealing with a woman and she says she cool with all the exes, that's a sign. She got a high body count. We got to start paying attention, man. I start recognizing. So these two signs that y'all need to pick up on, these two signs y'all need to recognize, man. Them two red flags. If a woman says she was like one of the homeboys, that's a red flag. If a woman says she cool with all her exes, that's a red flag. I'm not saying this is the case for all. I'm talking about this tends to be the reality for majority of them. If they was treated like one of the homeboys, they cool all the exes, that's a red flag. That's a sign that they got high body count. And we were taught this young. Elementary, middle school, our grandma used to come out the house and a girl be, because it was six of us brothers, it's six of us, six boys, all six of us living in the house with our grandma and our mama. And if a girl be out there, man, my grandma used to come out the house, tell that girl, get from over here. Like, mama, she cool. We ain't doing nothing with her. But later on, when we got in the house, our grandma used to teach her, it's not good for a woman to be hanging out with boys. She gonna end up being a hoe. See, our grandma didn't cut us no slack. She didn't, man, she gave us straightforward. No girl need to be hanging around out with boys like that. She on her way to be a hoe. A girl, this is what she's telling. If she feel comfortable being around y'all boys, she's going to be a hoe. And shit, Granny wasn't wrong. I'm trying to tell you, Granny wasn't wrong. Especially when I got in college, man, Granny wasn't wrong. That's why I was able to manipulate and take advantage of a lot of women because Granny Mama put us up on game. But pay attention to these two red flags, y'all. They was treated like one of the homeboys, or if they say they cool with all their exes. Pay attention. All right, peace.